Alright, 10 years of playing Destiny. Technically, it'd be 10 years in December of me playing Destiny. We're gonna go trip down memory lane, talk about some stuff. A little bit of backstory first. When I was growing up, my parents weren't a fan of video games, especially the violent ones, so I didn't really get to play them. So when I did get a game, I played the hell out of it for a very long time. Fast forward a bit, I was able to get Dead Space 2 through a gift card, and I am not exaggerating when I say I played the game for like 3 years straight. I have like 100 saves across different machines. I know that game like the back of my hand. Same with like Crisis 2, Crisis 3, games like that. Because it's rare for me to get a game, so I'm used to just playing the hell out of the game. Fast forward a little bit. On your friends list on PlayStation tells you what games people are playing, and I remember for a while, like a month or two, I just saw a bunch of people with this game called Destiny. I was like, what the hell is Destiny, right? I knew that Bungie made Destiny, and back in the day, the only Halo game I played up until that point was Halo Reach. That was like my first Halo game. So, I didn't know that much. So, I looked into it. It looked cool. And then for Christmas, I asked my dad, like, hey, can you give me this game for Christmas? And he's like, okay, sure, whatever. And because it was rated T for teen at the time. So I got Destiny, and I'm not trying to sound dramatic, but I remember I remember like the moment I'm like, okay, like there's something here. When you're installing Destiny, right? I flashed all the concept art, which is really cool, but there was one that stood out in particular, and it was the pyramid ships, and it was like the pyramid ships, like flying through space, and I liked it so much I went to go Google like the concept art, and I looked up and I literally typed in pyramid ships, and here it came up, popped up, and it's called The Darkness. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Isn't that like the main antagonist of Destiny? That's kind of cool. And that always image kind of stuck, in the back of my head. Also, a little fun factoid. The concept art for Old Chicago has literally been my screensaver on my phone, like over multiple phones for the last 10 years. And the channel banner for this, for this channel is the concept art of Old Chicago. So, like I said, I really do like Destiny, clearly the entire reason this channel exists was for Destiny. My very first video was called Just Doing Some Strikes, and there's like, yeah. So that's how I got into Destiny. In terms of like, my overall experience, what really captivated me the most, outside of, the gameplay, was just the idea that the game changes, like, it grows and can change, right? Because up until that point, every game I played was a single player game. Maybe there's some multiplayer, but mostly single player games, and I was mostly into single player. And it's static, right? Outside of like DLC, which again I didn't ask my parents to buy me DLC because like it was already a miracle enough I got the game. It was very static, and that's it. Like once you beat the campaign, that's it. There's no weird routes, none of that crap. So the idea of playing a game that can actually change and add new stuff was really cool. And yes, I know Destiny, I almost said Destiny 2. Isn't the first live service game, but for me it was my first introduction to live service. And I thought it was a really cool idea, a really novel idea. Obviously, I came with a caveat of having to buy the DLC, which is a problem that I had to, ask parents for, like, oh, can you buy me something? But, as I got older, it wasn't an issue. But, yeah, that's how I got started into Destiny. I started playing around December, like, during Christmas time. And, been playing ever since. I can go rehash over my Destiny 1 stuff. Like I said, I remember doing Vault of Glass for the first time. I think it was on hard mode or something. And I got Vex, Mythoclast, and Vision and Confluence, arguably two of the best guns in the game. I'll never forget that. My RNG in Destiny 1 was like, I must have like a 4-leaf clover, because I was super lucky with a lot of stuff. Like I said, I really enjoyed the game. Now, again, there was like the whole content droughts were a really big thing back in Destiny 1 because we didn't have seasons, so once there's like an expansion, there's nothing new until the next expansion, right? And that's like months of nothing. Which again, at the time, I'm used to playing a game forever, like for 3 years straight, so that wasn't a big issue. House of Wolves came out, I want to say like in April or something. Played a bit of that. I met my clan members, got into a clan, started raiding, did like Courtesan, Vault of Glass more often. I still remember getting Hawkmoon out of the chest that can give you like Galhorn and other exotics. There's a lot of fun Destiny 1 stories. But it's not really, I don't know, maybe one day I'll go over my Destiny 1 stories, but anyway, just going over the timeline. So huge content drought until Taken King comes out, because at that point, Destiny's kind of like, there's nothing really to do. So Taken King comes out, we all know how great that was, best thing ever, arguably this best DLC ever. Everyone's happy, right? Kingsfall was cool, Court of Oryx was cool, finding the calcified fragments, getting touch of mouth is awesome. Great times. And then, again, content drought. I want to say the only update that year was the April update for Prison of Elders, adding the Taken shader and like the Taken armor and like the Taken sword and Stolen Willis shotgun to Prison of Elders, and then that was it. Up until that point, really, yeah. I mean, after that, nothing really happened until Rise of Iron, and then after Rise of Iron, there's Age of Triumph, and then after Age of Triumph, there's Destiny 2. Now, where my Bungie hater arc started to come into play, was a couple things. First was Taken King, and then Destiny 2. Again, to reiterate, I'm the type of person, I'll play a game over and over again. I don't really spend money on DLC. Whatever. And when Eververse was first introduced, the premise was that it was to help fund the game and to help, live service. It's a live, help fund live events, right? I think I just said that, but whatever. So that's what they did, and all they had in there were emotes, and I think that was it initially. Now later, yes, they added like ornaments, but you could get them from Xur 2 as well. But whatever. But again, I remember watching the data video, and I agreed with him wholeheartedly. It's kind of weird. I know, weird tangent, but I remember showing one of my friends the whole entire Eververse thing. Like, oh, look at this cool little emote stuff you can buy. I remember showing him on my phone, like at the bus stop. Again, I was of the opinion, like Dado, it is very slippery slope. This could easily spiral out of control into like a lot of pay to win or whatever the fuck kind of crap, and then this, that, and other. And hindsight's 2020, and look what happened to the Eververse. But point being, that was my first kind of like okay, kind of wary, whatever. And then I want to say either during Rise of Iron or Destiny 2, there's a whole entire, or maybe even during Taken King, there was the infamous leak where the internal documents from like Bungie to Activision, because this was back when Bungie was under Activision, talking about the iconic line, making content's hard, and all this other crap, saying, hey, can we do this, that, and that, just trying to renegotiate their contract and all this other crap. So that, because the idea of Destiny, I want to say, because again, you can hit me with the Reddit tier. Well, actually, do you have a source? Most of this is paraphrasing, obviously 10-year-old memory. I might get stuff wrong, but again, I could have sworn that the original like slogan or premise was like one disc 10 years. I want to say that was the initial thing. Also, fun side tangent about like a money investment. This game is this is the most I've ever invested into like a game series, because back in the day I had the old brick PS3, the one that came with like Spider-Man, and it was like the huge one that only had 36 gigs. And obviously games have storage space, and at some point I have to keep deleting games, kept complaining about it. My dad's like, well, okay, I'll get you here. You have a choice, son. You can either get a PS4 or a PlayStation 3 Slim. And this is before I started playing Destiny. He's like, oh, okay, sure, give me the Slim, because there's not really any game that I care about right now. I'm just gonna keep playing the same games I've been playing for like the last 3 years straight. And then I played Destiny, and then when I think either Taken King came out or maybe Destiny's like, oh, can I get a PS4? And he's like, I just bought you one a year ago. I was like, no. So a little fun side tangent. But yeah, we're Eververse store, right? So that's when I first was like, okay, whatever. Also, yeah, throughout the years, I made all kinds of like I learned how to do like movie. I learned Movie Maker, iMovie, a little bit of editing stuff, right? Because I wanted to make more Destiny videos. I do like that series, My Thought on the Matter. I just basically talk about stuff I thought about Destiny. It's all on the channel. Like you can literally just go sort by oldest. It's all there. I used to play Crucible a lot too back then. And I'll be honest, I was way more unhinged back then. Let's be honest. I've definitely mellowed out over the years. At least I'd hope so. But that was like the first kind of crack where I'm like, okay, that's kind of weird. So I'm skipping towards Destiny 2. Again, this is back then. I'm super fucking hyped. I'm like, oh my god, dude, Destiny 2, awesome. The trailer was cool. It's gonna be awesome. Cabal and all this other crap, very cool. And then we started learning more and more, and that's when I was like, okay, now I'm not as excited. The first big thing was perk blocks. If you don't know, back in Destiny 1, like when you had a proper subclass tree, like you'd have like a big ass row of stuff. You have jumps and all of these modifiers, supers and all these modifiers, mobility, resilience, and recovery, which were slightly called something different back in Destiny 1, but the same stats were actually in your subclass. And like Way of the Nomad gave you like more mobility but less resilience or something like that, right? And the only armor sets you had to care about was discipline and like strength, right? There's that. Also, I kind of glossed over like the Forever 29 stuff. I'm not gonna go over like the complete history of Destiny 1. I'm just recounting like the stuff that sticks out in my brain. That was like the first kind of like red flag. I was like, okay, that's kind of annoying. And then the like I don't know. Let's see. I'm trying to think. Yeah, yeah, okay. So perk blocks were pretty bad, but then what really like kind of I was like, okay, I don't like this was the double primary system where now you have two primaries, but you can't have like your shotgun, grenade launcher, all the other crap is going to be in the heavy slot, which is like okay. This was for the sake of crucible balance. Again, evidence, sir. I mean, I don't know. You can look back at some of the old Vidocs, but I'm pretty sure this was like for crucible balance. Um, not I wasn't really I did like PvP, but I wasn't too big into it, and I was like that's kind of annoying. And this is where I definitely started to like throughout Destiny 1 I developed that Crucible ruined everything kind of mindset instead of just obviously blaming Bungie for their inability to separate the sandbox. Because back in Destiny 1 they had a hard on for that philosophy where there has to be one unified sandbox. So if something got slapped in PvE or PvP definitely got nerfed in PvE. There's no separation there. So yeah, the double primary system kind of like was like okay, that's really bad. And then also I know I'm all over the place, but just to set this up later. Sunsetting was a thing. It wasn't called sunsetting. I don't think it was called sunsetting in Destiny 1. But the idea, like weapon retirement, where your weapons from Vault of Glass would no longer be useful once you get to Dark Below, and then obviously as you keep going, there's that stuff. I was fond of it in Destiny 1 because they added a lot of new weapons and stuff, and new raid weapons that were actually good to chase, all the other stuff. Eventually, you were able to bring them all back up in the replies of the raids and Age of Triumph. That's something different. Anyways, we get to Destiny 2, and this is like my first big break from the series. And the only reason, I'll tell you this, the only reason why I stuck around after the shit show that was Destiny 2, especially with the Ever Store and how overly monetized that was, and them like secretly stealth nerfing XP so you can get the Bright Engrams, whatever the fuck they're called back then, was the ending of the Red War campaign. At the very end of the Red War campaign, where the Traveler's Light is expanding out across the universe, and it hits like places like the Reef and all this other crap, it hits a certain dark corner of the universe, and then you see the pyramids light up, and you hear that iconic pyramid motif. That is what saved it. That's what kept me in this franchise. Once I saw the pyramid ships and I heard the little motif, I was obsessed. Like, oh my god, this is the best thing ever. And that is the only reason to this day. If I never watched that post-credit scene, I wouldn't be playing Destiny 2. If I like skipped it or didn't know about it, I wouldn't be playing this today. Just because the idea that finally this darkness entity that we've known about since literally since the concept art of Destiny 1, it's finally coming and we're gonna have to face it. That's such a cool idea, and that's why I stuck around. Now, granted, I did take a year break. I stopped playing after Red War, and I came back during Forsaken. Again, I wasn't there for Curse of Osiris or Warmind, so I kind of missed out on Whisper, like the stuff like that. But anyways, like we know how Forsaken was, iconic, one of the great Destiny expansions. I remember coming home from college and doing my weekly meeting Morasab video, all the other crap. Shadow Throne was a blast. To this day, my favorite video on the channel, and my greatest achievement on the channel is soloing Dueling Karu back in the day on a Hunter, because I needed something from her to get Izanagi. The sniper rifle. So that's probably one of my favorite videos I've ever made. I felt it took me forever to get it done. When I got it done, I was like, yes. It was such a great achievement, video game achievement. Again, I love the Dreaming City curse cycles, all this other crap. Again, I'm just skimming through because I want to talk about some other stuff. Now, another thing too is to mention is that Forsaken was still under Activision, and they had the help of High Moon Studios or High Moon. I want to say High Moon Studios, High Noon Studios, and then Vicarious Visions, and those people were actually the guys that helped make Outbreak, the 0 Hour, and the Whisper mission. That actually wasn't Bungie themselves. And also, I think they're the people that did the fine tuning on PC when they finally ported Destiny 2 to PC, about like how they had more stability on PC and crap. So yeah. There's that. Again, I really started to get like indignant towards the whole entire constantly having to pay for new content, idea, especially when it didn't feel like it was worth it. Like, I didn't play during Black Armory or Joker's Wild. I did eventually buy the pass, or I bought something that let me play all the old DLCs again, because I got back into Destiny because after I did Forsaken, I took another year break. When Opulence came back, and they brought back like the Austringer, which is Ice Luna, or the LDR, which is the Beloved, and all this other crap. Those are like really iconic Destiny 1 weapons. Like, oh, that's cool. So I wanted to go get those, and I think again another video on my channel is like a really good sniper. Is like when I finally got like quick draw snapshot row of Beloved, I just went on Crucible and just started going on a tear because it's such a great feeling sniper. Like quick draw snapshots is a cool combo on a sniper. But yeah, like I said, I've been taking intermittent breaks at this point. And again, the Eververse, to this day, I still believe that's the root of all evil. Like, ultimately, it's the truth. The truth is, it's Bungie's the reason why they're in this position. The leadership, whoever the fuck you want to blame, it's solely on the company at this point. I never bought the whole entire this person like, oh, it was Sony's fault. It's always been Bungie, in my opinion. But Eververse was like the root of all evil, and to this day, I have not bought a single cosmetic out of Eververse. I've been playing this game for 10 years. Destiny 2 in particular, I guess, is 6 or 7 years old at this point. 2016, I think. So yeah, we're getting there. Actually, it might be 8 years now. I think about it. Whatever. The point is, I'm bad at math. But yeah, because I truly believe that Eververse is one of the reasons why the game was such and still is in such a bad state. I have never bought a single thing out of Eververse. A single cosmetic, because technically you buy silver out of Eververse to buy the seasons, because you should buy the seasons individually. But yeah, not one. Any cosmetic you see on my character, any look, any exotic ornament, I've earned strictly through Bright Dust, or I got lucky in an Eververse engram. Here, like, let me look at all this. Look at all this Bright Dust. Woo! And if you're wondering what this is, this was back when they gave out that free Mass Effect bundle. I just haven't opened it because I'm lazy. So yeah, I've not bought a single cosmetic out of Eververse, and that's like one of my proudest achievements. Because all about the moral high ground or some crap. Anyways, we're in Season of Opulence. Great season. I love the menagerie. I remember listening to the music and loving the Callus theme and the whole entire glitch. We have to come back and like leave the room, come back. And again, even though I'm a certified Bungie hater, credit where credit's due. I think one of the best policies they've had throughout the series is that if people do an exploit, they won't ban them for taking advantage of the exploit. They'll just fix the exploit later. I played like now, as of now, I play other games where that's not the case. They will ban you for doing like exploits intentionally or unintentionally. Like Division 2 had that controversy where there was like a damage glitch that some people didn't know that they were unintentionally doing. They still got banned. I'll definitely say Bungie's unique in that aspect. I'll give them props for that. I do appreciate that kind of mindset. But I remember, now we're getting to Shadowkeep. And I remember a video I made, I think it's called Our Destiny. I was just fucking ranting and raving because I was so pissed off. Because this is when they first introduced seasons. And they said, again, you can always watch these Vidocs, but they went more along the lines of, well, we don't want to alienate our players, so we're only going to make these new things $10 and all this other crap. And I was arguing, well, I have to buy $10 every 3 months. It's like still more money and all this other crap. But that video's still up if you want to hear me screeching like from like 6 years ago. But what really started my Bungie hater status was the Vidoc for Shadowkeep, because and I didn't buy Shadowkeep once I saw this, because they again, oh, where's the evidence? Everything has to be spelled on black and white. There's no such thing as inference. If you watch the Vidoc for Shadowkeep, it is heavily implied that the reason why Destiny was in the state that it was in, and that all this other crap, all the bad crap, where the reboot, where the launch of Destiny was really bad, and how the launch of Destiny 2 was really bad. This was all on Activision. It's Activision's fault because they were stifling our creativity and all this other crap, right? And Shadowkeep was Bungie's first, DLC release as a solo studio. And I want to say it was delayed, but I can't be sure. But like I said, I didn't play it. I came back during Arrivals, but yeah. I'll get back into it when I explain, because I'm gonna start at the end and then work my way back. So right. So I stopped playing after I saw that VOD. I'm like, whatever. We're going back to the moon. I don't give a shit. And then Season Arrivals. I see the trailer and I'm like, holy shit! The pyramids. They haven't forgot about them. They're actually coming and they're here now. That's really cool. And then so I bought Shadowkeep to play that season, because again, this is back when I didn't know how the system worked, and I didn't know because Shadowkeep was on sale, so I bought Shadowkeep, and then Shadowkeep comes with the current season. I think I made a video on that too. So that's how I was able to play Arrivals. I'm like, oh, that's awesome. And again, I love seasonal rivals, even though the context is basically just Gambit. Just the music, the skybox, the opening mission. Again, Ares is like arguably the best character in the series. It was a cool season, it really was. Witherhoard was cool as well, but yeah, of course, Savathun was an awesome soundtrack. Um, but like I said, and then I went to go play through Shadowkeep because I think you have to play through Shadowkeep to get to the season. And again, this was I to this day I'm surprised I was not spoiled on Shadowkeep at all because I still subscribed to some Destiny YouTube that just didn't pay attention to like the thumbnails or any of the other crap. So I wasn't really spoiled. So when I played Shadowkeep, and you know the very first mission, you know you do the tank section, then you get to the Scarlet Keep, and then you see these shadows. You go around the corner, and then there's a pyramid ship just chilling there. I was like, my jaw actually dropped. I was like, oh my god, that's awesome! They tell me there's a pyramid that's been like chilling here on the moon this entire time, and it's been awake since at least the end of the Red War. That's cool. That's a really cool concept. And then like the whole entire nightmare thing was kind of neat, like having to fight like Crota or Gaul and I think Skolas again. I can't remember the other nightmare. That was pretty cool. And then they completely dropped the ball. They completely dropped the ball in the campaign. It just becomes bounty grind simulator to get the armor. You go into the ship. Your ghost talks funny. You kill the nightmares. You get a magical sphere ball, and then nothing else. I think the Unveiling lore book did come out too, though. This is still my favorite lore book to this day. So yeah, Shadowkeep was a complete fucking complete mess. And I played it retroactively, so whatever. But during season arrivals, that's when I'm like, okay, the pyramid ships are here. This is literally the reason why I even started playing this game to begin with. I'm going to see it through the end at this point. Fuck it. Might as well just continue because at this time, like, I was like, okay, you know, I've been taking breaks. So I kind of wanted to just go. And during this time, they did a couple of things. They did another, like, I guess stream where they basically talk about like, okay, guys, we're going to, this is before Beyond Light. We're going to do like some drastic changes. First things first. Lightfall isn't the last expansion of Destiny 2. It's going to be, you know, there's going to be Lightfall, then Final Shape, and then, or maybe Final Shape was announced later. I think Final Shape was announced during Witch Queen. You know, it was. Sorry. See, old man brain. It's been like fucking 5 years or something. My brain gets mixed up. But the two things they announced, the big thing was one, Prophecy, which is a new free dungeon. I forgot to mention like dungeons were awesome, but Prophecy was a new free dungeon to you know, you don't have to pay shit. And sunsetting. They brought back sunsetting. Now again, like I'm paraphrasing, maybe this is a Mandela effect, but I could have sworn around the time of I want to say Curse of Osiris and when they introduced masterworking, I want to say that either Luke Smith or someone they made a post where they were alluding to the fact that sunsetting Destiny 1 sucked because, you know, you had this gear and, you know, it had a legacy to it and also their crap and you had to let it go to get the new shit, and that this way of masterworking and having like kill trackers is the way to kind of like make this on your own. And again, maybe I'm wrong, maybe I'm misremembering, but I could have sworn they mentioned like they more or less implied they would not do sunsetting again in the future. I mean, I try to look through and find this article. I can't find it. Maybe I'm literally just a hater and my brain just manifests this memory. But I could have sworn they mentioned something along the lines of, like, we're not going to do sunsetting again because we know it sucks, so here's a masterwork system. Again, I think it's around Curse of Osiris when they're talking about masterworking, if someone wants to find it. But yeah. So they did sunsetting, and again, I've always said this every time this gets brought up. I had no issue with sunsetting because back in Destiny 1 when it existed, they shuffled all this old stuff out, but they brought a lot of new stuff. Obviously, when Beyond Light launched, that was not the case. They removed way too much shit, and they didn't give nearly enough to replace it to the point where they already were reintroducing old stuff that just got sunset. But I'm getting a little ahead of myself. So they also announced the Destiny content vault, and this is like literally, again, if it wasn't for the fact that the pyramids were here, like if this was like a little bit before, I would have just left the game, like the series. But the Destiny content vault. The idea that the game, because they want Destiny to continue, and for stability reasons, they're going to remove content that we paid for, and potentially bring it back at a later date to improve stability, right? And they also gave a narrative reason, right? At least to tie in to give like a lore reason why all this content's gone, which is, I guess, fair enough. And the DCV thing, like that, really pissed me off. I was like, okay. And I think, yeah, at this time too. Actually, no, getting ahead of myself. So yeah, that was Season Rivals. Beyond Light comes out, Beyond Light's trash. The only saving grace was Stasis, And Stasis was completely broken in Crucible, and some people in PvE said they didn't like it from the beginning. I thought it was great, especially Whisper of Hedrons. You get the free 20% damage buff for just like freezing someone. But it was mixed in PvE. But for PvP, it was like overpowered shit, right? To this day, the damage that Stasis did was like crazy. Not even like for Forsaken era Crucibles that strong. I can't even get over that. But okay, so now we're in Beyond Light, right? The Beyond Light era. This was sunsetting was still in the game, and I forgot at what point they decided to reverse to the decision to keep sunset, because they were going to keep sunsetting stuff. Because I remember when I did Deepstone Crypt, that was my very first Destiny 2 raid I did to completion. I got Succession with Snapshot Reconstruction and like Tac Mag and Arrowhead Break, like literally like 5 out of 5 with a stability map, perfect, like exactly what I wanted. And I remember saying like, oh, it's gonna be useless once the power level passes 1410. And I want to say like around a week later they just said, hey, we're not doing sunsetting anymore, so everything kind of stays, which was fine. Yeah, I'm not even gonna go through all the Beyond Light seasons. I'm just gonna skip all that crap. Well, actually, oh god, I kind of skipped over this. Beyond Light was delayed until November, I want to say, so like a 2-month delay, and it was still really bad. To be honest, Born in Darkness is arguably one of the worst fucking quest lines in the series. So there's that. Then after, yeah, I'm just going through the seasons. Season of the Chosen, I want to say, was during Beyond Light, and brought back the was it? What's Chosen? Was Chosen Beyond Light? I want to say, yeah, Chosen was Beyond Light. Yeah, I want to say so. Yeah, Season of Chosen, Dead Man's Tale, still my favorite gun in the game. I bitch about all the time how much of a shit show Bungie's fucked that gun over because of Crucible. And again, at this point, my opinion has changed from Crucible ruined everything to just Bungie. Like, this is actually Bungie's fault because they can't just separate the sandbox for whatever reason. So yeah, there's that. Chosen was fine. I think it was great. Again, I'm skipping. Witch Queen, the reveal of Witch Queen, where you had Light Bearing Hive was a neat. I remember when I was working, I was like seeing like in the lunch break, I was like, oh, that's a cool reveal. At this point, again, I'm no longer like super hyped, foaming at the mouth. I'm just like, okay, that's neat. And again, Witch Queen was pushed back into February 22nd. I remember that because I had an exam that day. So again, another delay. And at this point, we had Shadowkeep, which was bad, Beyond Light, which was bad. So Witch Queen pretty much had to be good, or else everyone's like, oh, it's over, we're done. Witch Queen was good. For the first time in Destiny history, you could actually play a campaign mission straight up without having to do, like, even Forsaken was guilty as this, like, doing random menial crap, like having to kill Scorn here, do a bounty there, and all this other crap. Yeah. But the issue with, Witch Queen was that they packed so much in the campaign that everything post-campaign was, like, pretty lacking. Like, the throne was more or less dead. You had nothing else to really do in there. We had 2 strikes. We had Birthplace of the Vile and Lightblade, and then we had 1 Crucible map, which is Disjunction, arguably one of the worst maps in Crucible. And then that's it. No Gambit's dead at this point, right? We had the I did skip over 30th anniversary. That's my fault. That was a DLC planned out in December to help alleviate that whole entire like, hey, there's nothing to do for the extra 4 months or extra 2 months since Witch Queen was delayed. I kind of wish I did my due diligence back then because I didn't know this at the time, but I assumed that the 30th anniversary was Dares of Eternity plus the dungeon. I didn't know that the entire point of that like pack was just the dungeon, Grasp of Avarice, and the cosmetics. I was like, oh, I thought you had to pay to play Dares of Eternity. Anyways, skipping through Witch Queen seasons, we finally get to Lightfall and Seraph. We'll talk about Seraph. Season of the Seraph was basically like Seasonal Rivals 2 for me. For the first time in a while, it felt like things were actually happening, something was serious, and again, I'll admit it, I was actually hyped. For the first time in a long time, I was actually hyped. It was a Vex season, we had Rasputin involved, I loved Rasputin as a character. Again, I love Spire of the Watcher, all this other crap, and the cutscene at the end of Seraph where you see the Traveler rise up and then, call it back to the original Destiny art. If you play, if you have the original ODST, not the MCC version, you can go back and see, like, in, I forgot the mission in New Mombasa, we can actually see the Destiny poster, and that's the same concept art as the cutscene flashbacks too. Like, it was a great top 10 moment for me, right? And, Witch Queen was good. And Lightfall, the expectations, Lightfall is good, and we're getting Strand, a new subclass, a new Darkness subclass, really cool. Lightfall completely dropped the fucking ball. Lightfall, arguably, even though Shadowkeep and Beyond Light were worse in terms of quality, the amount of damage that Lightfall did to the lore, like the story, and just, I think I'll steal a quote from Bife, now is not the time to rediscover mediocrity. Like, Bungie at this point is talking about, like, train stations and patterns and, don't over-deliver, and, no one was expecting Lightfall to be that bad. People were at that point at least expecting Witch Queen's level of good, and Lightfall wasn't it. The only saving grace of Lightfall was definitely Strand. Strand was great, but outside of that, it was just a mess. If you really remove Beyond Lightfall, you really wouldn't have missed much between Witch Queen and Final Shape, in my opinion. The Witness reveal was really goofy, retconned a bunch of lore, like the Unveiling, all this other crap, and yeah, Lightfall solidified to me that after Final Shape, I don't think I'm gonna continue with this franchise. So then we finally get to Final Shape. After the whole entire Final Shape was delayed for another 4 months, so it came out in June instead of February. And again, like I said in my last video, I think it was a good. I'll get into the specifics, but overall, I think it was a good campaign, good DLC, and I think it was a nice way to end off the series. And then we have acts and episodes, right? But how do I segue into this? So the reason why I'm not continuing into the Destiny franchise, I know I'm still playing. Oh, you're gonna quit after whatever. After Echoes, I'm done. I'm not buying any more dungeon keys. I'm not buying any more nothing. I'm just going to, after Echoes is done, or maybe even earlier than that, I'm just done with Destiny. I'm just gonna log off for the final time and not log back in. I know, super dramatic. But the reason why is because one issue. I have memory. I remember many things, and whether that makes me spiteful and jaded, you can argue which one it makes me. But because I remember a lot of things, it rubbed me the wrong way. Like when they, what I mean, like I can't forgive certain things. Like for instance, my biggest issue with Destiny is the monetization. To get into Destiny, the amount of DLC, all this other crap you have to buy just to stay relevant, all this other crap, I never liked from the beginning. Again, another monetization thing is dungeon keys. Dungeons used to be just come standard with the season. Again, some of these dungeons are directly tied into the season. Like they're literally continuing the seasonal story, and they impact the season in a great way, or in a more like Duality. Literally is about Callus and all his nightmares and shit, and letting go of Keitel, which is what Seasonal Hunt is about. Spire the Watcher literally tells you why, like, oh, this is how the Witness found out about Neomuna, which is very important to the Lightfall and all this other crap, right? But the monetization was definitely a big negative. I never liked how the game over the course of the years has become more and more monetized, and I definitely think it's because of Eververse and how they see how much money they make off of Eververse, and they you know what I mean. So that's why I never liked that. Another thing too is just like restrictions on gameplay, and lack of features that other looter shooters have. Like for instance, champions. You can argue, I'm not gonna try to debate bro on who has a better moral position. I personally don't like champions. I don't like champions because they always require a consideration of my loadout. Some people might argue that's good, some people might argue that's bad. For me, I just want to use what I want to use. I'm not saying I should be able to walk into a GM night full of Traveler Shows and damage and win, right? But I should have that option. I shouldn't have to worry about stunning a champion, all this other crap. Yes, over the years, has it gotten better with like the artifact mods not being in our armor, so we can use exotics now, and like subclass verbs affecting champions. Yes, it has been way better quality of life now than it was. But I never liked the idea of champions. Also, another big issue is again world drops. If you play Borderlands 3, you know this issue too, where a majority of if someone wants to get an exotic, the only way they can get it is just through world drops. Like, oh, you want sweet business? World drop. You want to get your Falcons? World drop. Farm a Lost Sector and focus at Aralu or some crap, right? There's that. The loss of functionality too, like in terms of like Lost Sector, I've talked about this like 1,000 times, but the fact that, you can't choose what you want to farm, you have to wait what day it is, now you don't even have 2 Lost Sectors, you only have 1, and now even to make things even worse, you don't even get like a dedicated day. You get an exotic engram, which you say, oh well, that's better because then you can focus what exotic you want. However, and now it's gonna start costing shards, ciphers, other crap too. So now it's way more of a resource sink. It's crazy. Yeah, but it's just like I just remember these things. I remember like how they handled some of these fiascos and just rubbed me the wrong way. Like it just the we're listening stuff. Like it's the servers, again, your live service game, single IP studio for 10 years, and every launch, almost like outside of a Witch Queen, I'm gonna say, every other major content release has been marred with server issues. And the fact that people like Jetsfall, whoa, we should be used to it by now. No, we should not. The fact that Final Shape was almost unplayable, or more or less unplayable, on the first day of release is insane. It is insane how they fucked that up. Now, sure, as time goes on, people will forget about this, but again, I have a memory. I'll remember that. I'm not forgetting about that. It's fucking crazy. But ultimately, what really makes me not want to continue the series is, again, let's look at their track history here. Let's look at their record post Activision, right? So this is past Forsaken. Okay, I'm not gonna say Shadowkeep was delayed because I can't remember, but we have Shadowkeep, pretty bad expansion. Beyond Light, delayed 2 months, pretty bad expansion, right? Witch Queen, delayed even more, but it was a decent expansion. However, it did not have nearly as much content as any of the as the Activision Bungie had, right? They didn't have. We had like two strikes, one Crucible map. You know, Forsaken brought 4 strikes, like a bunch of Crucible maps, all this, like 2 locations, all this other crap, right? And if you want to argue, well, Bungie's, Bungie's about themselves, they can't make that much content. That was their decision to go solo. So I'm just saying, I think it's fair game for me to criticize the amount of content. Then you have Lightfall, bad expansion. Only saving grace was Strand. Then you have Final Shape, good expansion. Out of the last couple of years of being post Activision, they only have two out of how many expansions that are actually considered good. That's not a good track record. Bungie themselves, like, their biggest issue is consistency in terms of quality of their big releases. They've gotten consistent in seasons, that's fine, but in terms of their release of the big expansion, it's up down, up down, up down. And at this point, I'm just tired of it. I just don't care anymore. Because there's nothing stopping them from going, like, Final Shape might be good, but what about the next expansion? What if the next thing is bad? Because look at the episodes. The episodes are supposed to be different from seasons, but they play the exact same so far. Echoes is literally just another season. So, that's why I just don't want to continue this franchise. Because when I just look at that track history, it's not a good record. It's not a good record. And it's just like the whole entire losing seasonal content, losing activities for stability. Like I said, like here's I guess not an allegory. Not a metaphor either, an example. We'll go with an example. We all have a charger, right? And your chargers get damaged and shit. And sometimes you get to the point where charger, you have to hold at a weird angle for your phone to charge, or flip it around, or blow into it, or whatever. But at some point, right, you realize that, if I have to wrap this charger like around my hand 3 times and hold it at a 40-degree angle perpendicular to the charging port, it's time to get a new charger, right? I think at that point it's kind of ridiculous. We have been sunsetting content since Beyond Light. It's been like literally 3 or 4 years. At some point, you should realize that the tool you have is pretty damaged. It's time to move on. It is time to stop. I am going to be so curious. I am so curious what are going to happen to episodes once the new year rolls around. Are the episodes going to stay? Or are they going to get sunset? And I'm heavily leaning into they're getting deleted from the game. Like the other night, I was making a build. I was like, oh, this build's awesome, but I kind of hate having to fight champions. I wish there was an activity where I could just kill shit and just have a good time and relax. Oh right, the coil. Oops, the coil doesn't exist anymore because Season of the Wish is over, right? That never feels good. Losing content you paid for will never feel good. I don't care if doesn't matter the justification. It's just, it sucks. It sucks, and if it's the consequence of game stability, it's time to move on to a different engine or move on to a different game, restart or something. It's crazy. But yeah, that's why I won't be continuing with Destiny. In terms of videos and stuff, this will probably be my last video complaining about Destiny crap. I know, shocker. At least in terms of oh, where the story's going, where this and that is. Maybe okay, maybe not, because if they do something really dumb in the Echoes episode, then I'll complain about it, even though that's my last thing I'm playing. But whatever. So don't hold me to that one. Promises can change. Oh my god, I forgot about the state of the game. Now we're on the ranting portion, by the way, if you haven't noticed. But yeah, it's I still want to make because I kind of did start it, but then I kind of life stuff where I went through builds that I like to use and did a couple tests with them. Now since the quote doesn't exist, it kind of sucks to show off some of those builds because they're not really meant for Lost Ark. They're meant for general play. I like to have a fun time, but who knows? Maybe I won't do them. But again, another thing too, memory. Remember during State of the Game when they're like, hey guys, we can't make, even though we promised to make ritual armor every year, we didn't do it because making content's hard, and oh my god, no one wants to use ritual armor because they look ugly and all this other crap. We're gonna ignore that part and ignore all the other Eververse sets that are like 1,000 Eververse sets we have. Like I said, if I wrote this down, I probably have a way, like I probably would have a laundry list of all my grievances and griefs. But like I said, overall, like I said, let's end this on a positive note. Destiny to me was always a special game because I grew up with it. Destiny was basically my Halo. Because when I got into Halo, when I was around like 10 years old, and Halo Reach came out, and that was the end of Halo. That was the end of Bungie's Halo. So I never grown up with a franchise before, like Destiny again. I was in college when I was playing Forsaken. I got my driver's license. I got a job. Like it's weird. It's really crazy to think how much has changed in the last 10 years. So that's why this game has always been special to me. But again, I'm getting to the point where I'm just not having fun playing with it, and I just get bored of it. And I think at some point, you can't keep forcing yourself to do something you don't like. So I'm just gonna stop playing it. I know it's a little bit dramatic, but overall, I met a lot of fun, a lot of great people, a lot of cool soundtracks. I know this sounds cringe, but it has changed my outlook on life. Hearing the music and all this other crap. And yeah, I really, if I could do it all over again, would I get into Destiny? Yeah, I would. I'm not gonna be like, well, actually, I know. Like I'd have better hindsight to skip out on like certain expansions and stuff like that to save myself some money. But I'd still play it again. I'm not gonna lie. I had a fun time. I really like all my videos about me bitching and moaning about Destiny. It's because I want the game to be basically the best version of what it could be, in my opinion, through my eyes. Obviously, everyone's best version of Destiny is obviously completely different. That's why I complain all the time about this and that and all this other crap. But at the end of the day, genuinely I really do like this game, but I'm just kind of tired. Again, the whole entire episode's basically being another season thing. Really is like wow. There's been like loads of controversy about a bunch of crap, like all this other stuff. But at the end of the day, I had fun playing, and that's all that really matters when you play a game. Did you have fun playing? Did you have fun playing? I had a bunch of fun playing. Again, met a bunch of cool people, and yeah, it was a fun game. But I don't know how to end this. I should just say thanks for watching. I'm trying to think of, like, is there like a big, like, philosophical message I can leave off and mic drop and say goodbye and make it all sad and shit or something? No, not really. I can't really think of anything really to end it off properly. So as always, thank you for watching, and goodbye.